Peace and blessings in this corner boxing 24. So I just wanted to talk about again Gary Russell Jr. and Magsayo, that fight last Saturday. So it seems like 72 hours, 3-4 days after the fight, that the work it's in play for Magsayo to fight either Leo Santa Cruz or Ray Vargas. Two fighters that Gary Russell was trying to get in the ring for years, and he couldn't get that fight. But now, because Magsayo beat him when Gary Russell was fighting with only one arm, and he beat him, now he's able to get those fights. What was interesting to me is that the president of Manny Pacquiao Promotions, Sean Gibbons, he stated in an article that Gary Russell Jr. absolutely deserves a rematch. He said absolutely, man, because he fought a gallant fight. So he deserved that. But then at the same time, he says if it works with the schedule. So my thing is, what schedule? Of course it could work with the schedule. Same way y'all talking about having your fighter, Magsayo, fight two different other fighters, and that could work in the schedule. Then fighting Gary Russell Jr. in a rematch could work in the schedule. Now, Freddie Roach, who trains Magsayo, because Magsayo is he's from the Philippines, okay, and he's 24-0 with 16 knockouts now. He's from the Philippines, stablemate of Manny Pacquiao. So Freddie Roach, who trains him, said that he don't have a problem with a rematch. However, because Gary Russell don't fight that much, that's the problem. But here's the thing, Freddie Roach, don't use that as an excuse, because Gary Russell said he wants to rematch. So at the end of the day, that could be the next fight, and it won't take a year for that. Y'all could talk about that now. That talk can start right now. All you're doing is basically waiting for him to recover from the injury. Okay, so I'm sure he's going to make a decision on surgery or whatever he's going to do as soon as possible, and then the rematch could happen most likely by the summertime, maybe May or June, right? So it's not about the fact that he's inactive. Don't use the fact that because there's a reason he was inactive all these years. And I get it. Maybe some of it had to do with him, but I know definitely some of it had to do with he couldn't get the fights that he wanted to get. Okay, so you can't put all that blame on him. But at the end of the day, he wasn't that lackadaisical that he didn't fight your fighter, right? He wasn't out of touch with boxing so much that he didn't fight your fighter, right, after 2 years, right? So Freddie Roach bringing up, he didn't fight this many times this year, that year, and he just coming off a 2-year layoff. Okay, and he fought your man. He fought your fighter. And he lost his belt unjustly. He beat him with one arm, with one hand, okay? And so the fact that he gave y'all the fight, he deserved that immediate rematch. So it's not going to take a year for the rematch. Give him the rematch, and then you go from there. Now, your man most likely will lose, and that's the problem that y'all got. Okay, just keep it real. That's a low reward, high risk fight, because with two hands, Gary Russell beats him, maybe even stops him. Okay, so just keep it real, Freddie Roach, Sean Gibbons. Don't make excuses about the schedule, and don't make excuses about the inactivity of Gary Russell, because he fought you. And I'm sure if a rematch is on the table, that fight could happen as soon as possible. As soon as he gets over and recovers from that injury, which would take a few months. Okay? And that could be a May, June fight. This is going into February. This is January. So let's make it happen, man. Stop making excuses, all right? Give that man back the opportunity to get back what he lost. Just like he gave it to you and he won it. Magsayo, that's the right thing to do. You want to talk about honor and respect, do the right thing, man, by Gary Russell Jr., man, and give him the opportunity to get that fight back. All right? Peace and blessings in this corner boxing 24.